Neopolitan is perhaps the most interesting character to have fallen into the abyss at the end of RWBY Volume 8. After Yang fell, it was almost inevitable that the rest of Team RWBY would follow. However, the inclusion of Neo and Jean sparked intrigue amongst the fans, especially with Neo's backstory revealed in the official young adult novel by E.C. Myers, Roman Holiday, as well as her character song in Volume 6, One Thing. I feel like the story of Neopolitan will go either one of two ways in Volume 9. It could very well dictate her continued path of villainy, or perhaps a babyface turn. One thing I certainly do not want to happen is I don't want Neopolitan to suddenly gain the ability to speak. As shown in Roman Holiday, it's been a condition for her since birth that she's been mute, and I don't want her to suddenly gain a voice in later volumes or through some other new power. For example, Jean amplifying aura with his semblance. It could evolve to a point where it could amplify other people's semblances or other people's power more than it already does. However, I don't want this to be like a conditional thing, and I don't want it to kind of affect her voice. I think she should remain mute. Although the very, very few times where she's needed a voice for gasps or stuff like that, especially in games and whatnot, she has been voiced by Casey Lee Williams, which, I mean, it's only right that Casey Lee Williams gets to voice a character, and I suppose that would work with Neo. I suppose that makes sense. But to me, I feel like Neo, throughout all of this, until her story ends, should remain mute. There was one idea theorized around about Fox Alistair, whose semblance is telepathy, being able to communicate with Neopolitan, in which, in that case, if Neo is speaking through the mind with someone, and they actually need to, show that audibly, giving Fox a voice as well, then in that case, I suppose I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against her having a voice if it's just her mentally speaking to Fox. I am heavily invested in the RWBY series, and like many people, Neopolitan is one of my favourite characters, and that has been solidified, especially after listening to the audiobook version of Roman Holiday, which you should check out, by the way. It is a wonderful book. So I don't want her to gain a voice. As well, Phoenix Knight also had the theory of, because this other world these people have fallen into could contain different magic, or could be something entirely different, that it could nullify things like semblances. However, I'm not really a fan of this idea. I feel like people should just be left to their own devices, even though it's an entirely different world from the looks of it. I don't think people's magic or power should be removed. Now, the first of the two paths I spoke about. Now, this first path may perhaps be the most boring. RWBY is known for its interesting and mixed approach to different storylines. Once in a blue moon, they smash out something incredible, such as the apathy, and every so often they falter, introducing the power of the relics at the very end of Volume 8 without any prior explanation, and rushing through using that power in one episode. It's a mixed bag sometimes. So the most boring option, however one I definitely see as being viable, is revenge. As seen in the work in progress teaser of Volume 9, as RWBY and Neo were descending into the other world, Neo was still hell-bent on attacking RWBY, no matter what. She was dead set trying to kill her, trying to choke her out while looking like Penny. I don't see that hate magically disappearing because all of a sudden she's on a magical yellow island. I could see a scenario play out where one member of Team RWBY or Jean himself has to protect themselves against the Neopolitan, and the fight gets so bad or so intense that it gets to the point where someone may indeed need to kill her. And that is something that will weigh on them incredibly. Or not. I mean, look, they've kind of killed people before. Or perhaps a temporary alliance is put in place where Neo has to help the group in order to get back, but really it's just a plot by her to try and enact her revenge. Or, simply put, she disguises herself as someone, a civilian, pretending she's hurt, she could attack someone, she could maybe get a kill in, on either a civilian or an attempted kill on someone else. I feel like it would be a pretty upsetting conclusion for her especially. And RWBY isn't really known for grand send-offs. I mean, a lot of the time they imply someone's dead. There's only been a few times where someone's actually died on video and that stayed consistent. Or, very simply, she could be left behind in this other world. Team RWBY and Jawn somehow find a way to get out, they leave, and they leave Neopolitan behind. Or maybe Neo disguises herself as one of them to escape. They accidentally leave someone behind, and Neo reveals, ha ha ha, it was me all along. And then they have to find out how to get back to save their extra teammate. There are so many possibilities here, especially because we don't know the rules of this other world. We don't know what restrictions are in place, and we don't know if there is indeed going to be magic, or if there is going to be an easy solution to get back, or if there's going to be something complicated. Personally, I've had this idea in my head for a while that this is the realm of the God of Light, or something at least similar to that. How they ended up getting there from falling through a void? I'm not sure. Or maybe this isn't the God of Light's new domain. Maybe every single person that fell has their own little island, and they have to travel through to try and find an exit on their own, which also would suck. But then again, the only things we've seen on this island thus far, up until this point, is RWBY's scythe at the end of Volume 8, and RWBY herself, walking along the beach during the Work in Progress teaser. So although not a fantastic send-off for Neo, I could still see her remaining in her villainous ways, hell-bent on revenge, not listening to what anyone has to say, because she's lost everything. She's lost everything she cares about, and as well, since Cinder kicked her weapon off, her weapon Hush, something that was given to her by Roman, one of the few things that she has left as a connection to him, she could feel truly lost, and there's nothing to bring her out of that. So revenge is all she craves. However, despite all of this, Neopolitan is still a fan favourite, and Volume 8 has begun to show that villains don't always stay villains, because a lot of them have started to realise just how fucked up Salem's plan is, and how it means probably the death of all of them. However, the only people that have actually turned to the good side, have had a babyface turn, and are still alive, is Emerald. Fortunately, Hazel, R.I.P. With the track record of RWBY loving cute girls as the main protagonists since, Team RWBY, I feel like it could be only a matter of time until the Neopolitan has a face turn. And this is where we could see the other potential outcome, one that I know me and many other people are hoping for: redemption. Redemption could very well be on the cards for Neopolitan. I could see it happening in a few different ways. For example, A, she could simply find Ruby Rose first. She could find RWBY, still feel hatred bubbling inside of her, maybe go to attack. RWBY could use her words, saying, "Hey, we're stuck in this world, we should work together to get out. I don't know why you're trying to kill me." And then Neopolitan uses her semblance to turn into Roman Torchwick, essentially implying like, "Hey, you took him from me." This could help RWBY understand why Neo is so vengeful, so full of hate, and she could use her words to calm her down. That could be the start of Neo realizing, hey, maybe I've taken this too far. This could be the start of a face turn. I don't imagine that simply working on its own, but I can imagine from there, or maybe just as is by itself, Neopolitan exploring by herself, lost, confused, angry, and with nothing left that matters to her. She doesn't know where anyone else is. She has nothing left. She doesn't have her weapon, so as well she doesn't have her hat. She doesn't have anything that matters now, and she is just gone off the deep end, not caring about a single thing in the world. And then say, for example, a plucky, blonde fella who also happened to have fallen steps in and offers a hand. It is most definitely a fan favourite theory at the moment that Jean will be the one to help Neopolitan turn face. Because prior to their fight in Volume 7, they hadn't actually communicated in any regards. Jean had only heard things about Neopolitan. And I'm sure Neopolitan had never even batted an eye at Jean. However, both of these characters have lost important redheads in their lives. And both of these characters are in another world, lost together, without any direction. What if these two met up first? What if Jean just simply said, hey man, look, I got no animosity towards you, we don't know where we are, it's good to know that at least someone else is here. That might mean we're not dead. We should work together. I could see Jean giving that option to Neopolitan, because, think about it, I think Jean would realize, hey, Neopolitan doesn't know the implications of working for Salem. Why would she? Maybe Jean could be a bit defensive first. I'm not sure. The way they've taken Jean's character to be the complete nothing but support, but sometimes also very defensive about things. I don't know. I'm at a strange point with Jean. I don't know where exactly he's going half the time. However, I do feel like one thing I feel like would be very, very interesting and a good way to establish that, hey, Jean could be someone important to Neo in the future. It could be a friend. I'm not suggesting love interest. If that were to happen, cool. But I think they could just work very well as friends. Because in E.C. Meyer's Roman Holiday and in the first few volumes of RWBY, the way Roman Torchwick interacted with Neopolitan is the way that Neo always wanted to be interacted with. She wanted everyone to just act like she could speak and understand what she's trying to get across with just her mannerisms. And Roman always was able to do that. He always understood what she was trying to say without any words. What if Jean was like that for her? What if Jean just instantly understood what she's just trying to convey? What she's trying to convey through her movements and through her mannerisms, through her deadly stare. If Jean just understood what was happening, instantly, was able to just communicate with her as if she was speaking, and just understood her, that could be a place of solace for Neopolitan. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself or write text messages. She can just talk the way she used to with Roman, with Jean, and things could build from there. I feel like Jean would be a perfect beacon of light for Neopolitan. I know it would take time. I don't imagine any of Team RWBY would be so trusting of Neopolitan. Maybe the only person from Team RWBY I could even possibly see being indifferent is perhaps Weiss, but even then, she watched Neopolitan knock Yang into the abyss, so I just simply do not imagine any of Team RWBY wanting to even interact with Neopolitan. But Jean, on the other hand, I could see a dynamic between them two working very well. He is just 100% good boy, helping out someone he feels needs help. And that could be a spark for her, a light that she so desperately needs since she's lost everything. We don't know what Volume 9 is going to hit us with, especially with this new world. We know that all the main players that aren't in this other world are in Vacuole, and that's fine. They are where they need to be. Everyone in this new world, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who is going to find who first. We don't know who is going to find what first. We don't know if their magic and their powers and their semblances are going to be active here. We don't know if they're going to be deactivated or not. We don't know what is roaming around. And we don't know how they are going to get back. However, if they decide to bring Neopolitan to the good side and make her a face, I hope Jean is the catalyst to make that happen. I feel like they could be great partners, or just great friends. Both of them have experienced the loss of very important people in their lives, and I feel like they could help each other grieve and get through their troubles. I know both of them have had time to do so, but this connection between the two of them, if it happens, it could just be the thing needed to help them both keep moving forward.